Hey there, folks. Welcome back to another part of my thing. Where I am making a Tetris robot thing. This is actually probably the start of a brand new series because we've already created a robot Tetris announcer that can announce the details of a particular game. And we gave him a little bit of character and we added some random facts so he doesn't um, so he breaks up the silence a bit, and that was all fun and games. But now we're really going to move ahead with a bit of a different idea. Now that we can talk about and announce single games, I want to announce two games. And so I guess what I'm creating is a robot Tetris restreamer, someone who's aware of two games at once and can give score differentials and something like that. The other thing I want to do, in addition to that, and I talked about this last time, is that I want to be able to have a game that I played stored. And rather than storing the screenshots every time, we're just going to store the Tetris data model, the numbers that we get. And I want to potentially use a stored series of Tetris data models as the source for an analyzer. So basically, we can fire up a robot announcer and have him commentate on a saved game. And then once we have a head-to-head commentator, then we can actually play against ourselves. And if we're if this goes fantastically, I might try and do some live restreams um, where my robot announcer does the brunt of the work. But anyway, we're far away from that point. But what we're going to do today is we need to make our classes a little more generic. So we're not going to play any Tetris today. We're going to be doing some refactoring, some serious hardcore software development, and I have no idea exactly how I'm going to do this, so I may be bumbling and fumbling around. Just bear with me, though. But this is pretty representative of software development. You make something, and then when you want to make something even more bigger with it, you want to advance on its features, you probably have to do some refactoring. And so we're going to change things up. We'll have to run eventually our robot announcer, just to make sure we didn't break anything. But anyway, what we're going to do today is we're going to make things more generic. So right now, this is our analyzer where we run an analysis. We have a state model. We get the screen as the current screenshot, and then we analyze the state. And every time we get a new state, we analyze it. We get a new state by getting a screenshot. We take the screenshot and we create a data model from the screenshot. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this a little more generic. I want to have, to be a Tetris data model doesn't mean you necessarily get your data from a screenshot. And that's the first thing we're going to change. So we're going to make a new project. We don't do that very often. But I'm going to make a new project, and it's going to be a .NET standard. Where is this? There we go. We're going to make it a .NET standard, and this is going to be called, Tetris. We're going to shared, I guess. We're just going to call it shared. No, it's a .NET standard. Thank you very much. And we'll create it. So this, we don't have that class. So this is going to be a model, just some, I'm not sure what's going to be in this project. I know one thing that's going to be in this project. So we're going to put it right in the middle here. without even putting it in its own namespace, because I don't really know what else we're going to do with it. So here we go. This is it's an interface, and it's an iTetris data model. And this is we have a Tetris data model with these numbers here, with these properties. And we're going to make them integers. And I can do this fast by doing, oh, look at this. Boom. Ha! That's Visual Studio being smart. Okay. This is our Tetris data model, and it's integers. Now, what we want to do is we want to make the Tetris data model itself here implement the iTetris data model. I'm going to add a reference to there. Now, this is going to complain because what we have are lazy properties, not integers. So we are going to have to make all of these private. Whoops. Okay, so they're all private, and this is how we do it. And then we're going to implement the Tetris data model. Oh, that's really neat. It's actually put them in alphabetical order right next to the lazy properties. That's really nice. I don't. Shoot. Let's no. I need to turn these into small, lowercase. Let's do this. Let's do this. There we go. That's what I want. Yes. No. No. Don't do that. These are no longer properties. Can Okay. There we go. And is playing is a field as well. So now we got this. I'm going to save that. I don't actually. Yeah, this is still okay. Now we're going to. Can this do it all for me? Super exciting. Why isn't... Oh, I forgot to lowercase those. lines and level, oh, super fun stuff. Okay, that's fine. And now we're going to implement the Tetris data model. Z number dot value. T number dot value. S number dot value. So what this is going to let us do is create a different Tetris data model that doesn't use lazy values. And it's we're going to have this idea of a Tetris data model source, which could be various things. It could come from a screenshot. It could come from a file. Heck, we could even generate random ones if we wanted to, for whatever reason. I don't know why you'd want to do that. Okay, we're almost done here. There we go. So now we've got a Tetris data model. And I think we might want to just rename this file. I don't know what to call it. This is a Tetris data model which gets its data from a screenshot. So we would, I guess, call it a screenshot Tetris data model, a live Tetris data model. Sure. We can rename that later. The next thing I want to do is I want to we are going to create a new branch just so we don't screw our existing stuff up. Okay, so we have this and we have that and everything is fine. Now we're going to build this project and everything is going to complain because we have a lot of dot values everywhere. And stuff like this, like is playing is no longer lazy, it's just a regular Boolean. So we've got to do this and we've got to do this. And this is going to be kind of monotonous. I don't think there's really any way to speed this up. Maybe what I could do, can I search for everything that ends in value? In the, yeah, you know what, that's what I'll do. That's what I'll do. I'll look in the game analyzer. Find everything with value and just replace it with nothing. Find next. So replace, replace, replace. Skip. Find next. Find next. We'll replace these. All of these. Oh yeah, these are our tests. Oops. Okay, replace. No, we're skipping that one. That's legitimate. No more occurrences. Okay, let's rebuild this. Hello, Sammy. Welcome. We're doing some refactoring. Okay, did this run here? Or did this build? It looks like it built. It totally built. Okay. What we're going to do now, and maybe we should try and see if we didn't break anything. I don't think we would have broken anything, but let's have a look. I'm going to fire up my Nintendo. And we will run our program. Let's see if he talks.
New game starting at level 18.
Okay, so he's okay still. We're not going to get a Tetris because the game is mad at me, but he still
The
talks.
Apollo 17 crew were the last men on the moon.
Thanks for letting me know that.
Game is done at 2723.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we didn't break anything. And we have this idea of an iTetris data model. So now what we can do, let's get back here. We have a Tetris data model factory. And this is an interface where we create it's yeah, it's a little bit awkward because we don't know what we're creating a generic Tetris data model from. Like for the live one, we want a bitmap. But for a saved one, we might want a file of some sort. I made some notes for myself. This is where it's going to get a bit tricky. So what we need to do, let me just think about this. I want this idea of a Tetris data model source. And maybe we can just add that. And this is actually just going to be an enum, and this is going to be a screenshot file. That's enough for now. And so our Tetris data model factory, it needs to be able like what I'd really like is if we were able to say shoot. Let's go back to our analyzer. When we want to make this a little more generic, and so getting a screenshot is not necessarily something we want to do. We want this instead to be called get next data model. And this is temporary, just to sort of zone in on what we actually need to extract from this. So this is getting that. Now we need the screenshot and the screen information model. And the data model factory, all forgetting the next data model. Oh, 1 second. So we need to create an API for our Tetris data model factories. And I'm wondering if rather than create passing in a bitmap, rather we will instead, let's comment this out. And let's do Tetris data model source, where our T source, where T source is an I Tetris data model source. That's okay. Let me think. What's the problem here? Oh, I can't use it as an enum. Okay, let's make this an iTetris data model. No, a T model. Keep where T model is an iTetris data model. That's probably okay. And then we can have a T model get next. And like that is it. It's just a get next. There's nothing asynchronous about this. So that's really all it needs to be. So I think what we're going to do is we're actually going to move this file up here into shared. Let's change this namespace. And delete that. Now this, the Tetris data model factory, is a factory for the live Tetris data model. So that's good. It's still giving us a squiggly line, but we're not going to worry about that just yet. Let's rename this to live Tetris data model factory. And we're going to have an issue with our registrations. No, actually, we're fine. Yeah, we might have to fix our registrations a bit because it's a generic one now. That's okay. We'll leave it for now. Let's go back here. This is simply a get next. How are we going to initialize these things? See, the issue is depending on the data model type, we're like the source, we're getting it from two different places. So for the regular live one, where we get it from a screenshot, we actually have to initialize it with a screenshot getter, the color checker, and all that stuff that the Tetris data model needs. That has to be somewhere. Like we're going to need to maybe we'll see. We'll yeah, I'm not sure if that'll be a problem later or not. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So now in our analyzer, we don't actually need, well, let's go back to our interface. That we can keep, okay? Just making sure. We don't need a screenshot taker. We don't need a Tetris, well, we do need a Tetris data model factory. But we need it to be generic. Because of what kind? We actually don't need, I should not remove these yet. Let's put this into our live screenshot factory here. Okay, which we do have. Let's implement this interface and we'll say get next. Whoops, what did I just do? Oh, did I build it? No. So the data model factory, rather than being given a screenshot, okay, we're now going to take the screenshot. And this is basically what we're doing. We're going to comment this out, copy that, bring this over here. Oh, we need an iTake screenshot. Okay. What's the problem? Because this is in the game analyzer. That's the problem. This screenshot taking needs to be, I mean, it could be in the data extractor. Yeah, let's put it in the data extractor because that's all that we need. Like, we only need to take screenshots when we're getting a live data model, not a different kind of data model. So I expect this to be the only one we need to worry about for the screenshot. So now this should be okay. Screenshot. We can bring this in. And we can add it here. And now, like, this is the data model factory. So we're going to return this one. Whoops. Okay. So this is our live Tetris data model factory. It's a specific factory for getting the next live Tetris data model. We do that by taking a screenshot. And so now what we should be able to do is let's get the registration. This will be implemented as the interface. I think that's okay. And then here, we don't need this. We don't even need this. So let's get rid of these. Get rid of these. This is going to be a little bit tricky, but that's okay. We can get rid of this. Okay. Now the question is, how do I want to make these analyzers? So if I go to my main program here, what I do is I resolve an analyzer. And then I run the analysis. And an analyzer needs to be able to say, hey, what am I actually analyzing? What are the Tetris data models that I'm actually analyzing? So I think an I analyzer where T model is an I Tetris data model. And we run the analysis. So when we actually implement an I analyzer, we can say T model is an I T model where T model is an I Tetris data model. Okay. And so now we can actually have a private, I think this is going to work. Okay. The question is, do I have access in the constructor? I'm not quite sure how AutoFac is going to do this, but that looks all right. It looks like it's going to work. And then instead of get next data model, we can do this and just get next. And this is going to be an issue because this you can't implicitly convert this, but that's okay. We're going to fix that. Get next. So our issue now is the state model. Now the state model doesn't need to be generic. It just needs to know about the interface. So they could be two different, completely different models. That's okay. I mean, they're not going to be, but... And this is going to be an I Tetris data model. And actually, This should really just be T model. Okay. Looks like that'll work. We don't need the screen information model now. That's fine. Okay. We'll rebuild this, see what's going on. Lots of errors. That doesn't exist anymore. The registration for the game analyzer now no longer works. So let's bring this here, the screenshot taker. That belongs in the data extractor module now. Okay, that's okay. I want to see. What's this issue? Oh, right. So the analyzer, okay, the analyzer is now a generic. It has a, a Tetris data model. So when I am in my main program here, for now, I'm going to resolve the iAnalyzer for live Tetris data models. That should work. Okay. Okay, let's go back to the registration module here. Now this is a little, I think what you need to do, now how do you do this? There's some kind of generic. We're going to have to go to the internet here. Whoops, you don't want to see my email. Autofac, register, generic. Here we go. Reflection, instance, blah, blah, blah. It's not what I want. Open generic components. Okay, I think that's what I want. So I can register the generic type of as type of. Maybe. I think so. Okay, let's bring this back here. So I'm going to take the analyzer and I'm going to register. Now this says to register it like this. We'll copy this over. And we're gonna make it look like that. So we're gonna register generic. Type of iAnalyzer. Oh, maybe you don't need to do that. Surely there's a. Well, whatever. We'll go type of. Okay, type of this. As type of iAnalyzer. analyzer. Instance per lifetime scope. Okay, so when I ask for an iAnalyzer, I need to specify what kind of Tetris data model am I actually going to be using in this analyzer. And so this should, as far as I can tell, this should say when I ask for this particular kind of analyzer, I'm going to get this particular kind of analyzer. I think. I'm going to get it this specific kind of analyzer, which is a generic, and everything should be fine because then I'll get the right factory and and it should be okay. And we're going to find out right away if I'm right or not. So this is fine. What other errors exist? Oh yes, I have this idea of a session. And we're just going to do that. So we're going to have to implement this. Instead of live Tetris data models, this needs to, oh, come on, have Tetris data models. Okay, and this is going to be an Tetris data model. So now that's fine. We're going to close all that. Okay, what else is wrong? We've got some tests that are kind of broken. Yeah, I don't know. These are old tests. I should fix them up by, I guess, saying live Tetris data model. Oops, another angle bracket using Tetris shared. Oh, this is going to be an issue because now yeah. This is an old test that allowed me to supply a saved bitmap. But now our live Tetris data models only allow for screenshots. We are going to have to figure this out. But we're going to do that later. What else is wrong? Same thing with this. This is a test. Where we're using stored bitmaps. Unfortunately, this will no longer fly. I can't remember what the reason for these tests. This is just checking to see if the is playing. We could actually make this a little more generic. Like yeah, we could revisit this stuff using different kinds of Tetris data models. For now, I'm not going to care. Okay, so we actually succeeded. The question is, did we do our AutoFac registrations properly in order to actually let this all work? So let's see if it still works. We're going to move over to some Tetris. We should notice nothing different. This should work. I'm really hoping this will work. Well, the good thing is it started up.
New game starting at level 18.
that was surprisingly simple. I mean, I do have a fair bit of experience using AutoFac, but I kind of thought we'd have a bit of a few nuances to figure out.
Boom Tetris for D theorem.
Um, so now that that's good, we can continue on our way. As soon as we're done playing Tetris, I think I should be finished.
What a timely Tetris that is.
Okay, we're going to stop it there.
Game is done at 54,394.
Excellent. Okay, that actually worked, and I'm thrilled that that worked. So we made the analyzer generic. So the next thing we need to do is push that up right away, because I don't want to lose anything. Okay, well, wow, that didn't take very long. We're only at 47 minutes. I do want to now start with this idea of a sort of uh, if I come along here, now let me think. So the live Tetris data model is part of the Tetris data extractor project because it uses it uses the data extractor methods to generate the data model. If I wanted to create a text-based one or something that's loaded from file, like this is a file which contains all the Tetris data models for this particular game. Well, first of all, we're going to have to agree upon a system of storage for that. I'm not sure the best way. Honestly, I could just take each data model and convert it to JSON and then convert the whole thing to a 64-bit encoded string, save the bytes or something like that. For now, well, no, we're going to have to actually figure this out. Let's do it. Like, let's actually do this. Okay, so we are going to have another project. Fun stuff. It's going to be a library, a class library, and it's going to be called Tetris storage Tetris data model. That sounds really saved games. Nothing. Oh man, naming things is the most difficult thing. I want the name of a project that will house all the stuff, the Tetris data model for our saved games, our factory for our saved games, and it's going to be, what's it going to be? Unless, wait a second, if I look at this, can I take my models here? So I'm going to have a model and a factory. For each data model type. Is there any reason why I can't bring these into the shared one here? Or rather, create a new project called just literally data models. Let's do it. Tetris data models. And it's yeah, and it's standard 2.1, that's fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring over all of these things here, and then we'll delete these. These I'll need to fix the namespace. I think I've got a tool that does that. View, other windows, fix namespace issues. Fix all files. Okay. So now these are part of this data models thing. This data model source is no longer necessary. We're going to delete that. And we are going to add a new folder. For the live screenshot. Data model types. And in here, we're going to have the live. I'm going to have something called from disk. Nope. We could just call it a disk. Hard drive, storage, I don't know. Storage. We'll just call it storage. Okay, and then in this one, we're going to take these two things and bring them into live. Okay, and then we're going to fix our namespaces again because they're going to be wrong. Thank you. Okay. So that's fine. So these are here. Now, this is freaking out. It's totally freaking out. Let's bring this, let's kill these. The data model types, this is freaking out because it doesn't have access to any of this stuff. And I don't think should be okay. The screen reader. Add a reference to here. The screen information model is fine. We get the bitmap for free. So that's okay. And now we're going to have a different kind of data model. This will be the storage data model. Storage Tetris data model. And this is simply, there's nothing fancy about this one. Yeah, this should be. What just happened? Why did, oh. There we go. So this is just going to be some ints. They just have getters because we're going to use Newtonsoft's library to read these from a file. So I think it's going to be okay. The way we're going to do this is we need a storage Tetris data model factory. And this is going to be an Tetris data model factory for the storage Tetris data model. Boom. And when we implement this interface, we need to get the next storage Tetris data model. So that's fine. I need some initializers. I really need some initializers because how do I specify the file? I need to specify the file somehow for this Tetris data model. But we don't have an initialized thing. We might be able to do that. Somebody's playing music out there. We might be able to do that passing in a parameter when we resolve it. I think AutoFac is smart enough to be able to match parameters that it's going to resolve itself automatically and then have anything else be something that we supply. So maybe it's okay. Maybe? Not sure. Anyway, we're going to need a file, and it's going to, well, could be a string. I mean, like, it literally could be a list of storage Tetris data models. And then every time we get next, literally what we're doing is we're just returning the next one. We could add it. Oh, I know what we could do. We could add it all into a stack. a new stack. Oh. We could just do this, and then we can return data models dot pop and rename this to data model stack. And then the issue is, how do we populate this data model stack? We're going to need some kind of initializer. I mean, we could have we could say, I wonder if we could do this storage Tetris data model factory in the constructor. We could have like literally a file name, and then we could say file dot read all text from the file name. We can say we could say data model list equals, oops. Okay, hold on. File string equals file dot read all text file name. The list will be, we'll bring in Newtonsoft, which of course I don't have installed, so we should do this. What time we got? I got a baseball game to watch, so I gotta make sure I don't go over time here. So JSON convert. We can deserialize. I guess right now we'll just make it a text file. Deserialize object as a list of storage Tetris data models. The file string. And then, can I reverse the list? Okay, so can I go data model stack dot yeah, can I, okay, well, can I go data model list dot reverse okay, that's a void method, so we can actually just reverse it. And then for each, we can go data model list for each. We can use the link. And I mean, we can go data model. And then add that to the stack. And we got to reverse it because a stack is first in, last out. Not stack. Add. Push. Push. I remember my my university. Okay, push. We're going to push that onto the stack. So now we've reversed the list. We push it onto the stack, and then time we we get the next, we just pop it. And actually we can say try pop. I think. What does this do? Try pop out T result. Out. Bar data model. And I think if the data model is null, what do we get here? Oh, it's a Boolean. So if we actually get something, then we return the data model. Okay, so that's it. I guess we'll just return null. And then that looks odd to me, so I can go try pop the data model. Otherwise null, and then that's okay. We have some major issues with this. We need the screen information model. So that's fine. So the storage Tetris data model will take things from a file. We don't have a file with data models in it, so we can't actually test this. But let's rebuild this. Oh, we're whoops. What? Oh my word. What is happening? I see. We hadn't. Ooh, what's wrong? There's no implicit reference conversion. What do you mean? Wait a second. What's happening here? Oh, it can't. Do I have? Do I? Cannot be used as type parameter T model. There is no implicit reference. Okay, so that's probably an error down the list here. You know what? I'll bet. Right. Okay, we're gonna have to fix this up. I'm just gonna make a note here to do move all this to a new registration module in Tetris data models. Yeah, we'll just do that, and we're going to finish up for the day. Not done yet. Push this up so I don't lose anything, and we're gonna call it a day. And I think that was a good. That was good. That was some good refactoring. We're not done yet. We'll do it next time. Thanks for joining me. Have a good day, and we'll see you next time.